Welcome to episode 261 of Friars on the Farm. I'm Donovan, and with me is Roy.
Donovan, I am mad. I am
Robbed!
frustrated. I am
Bull-
bitter.
Bullshit!
Yeah. Also, today we're going to talk about little highway robbery, and then we're going to talk about some interesting Rule 5 transaction news, and then we have an interview with Jack Costello, who spent this summer with the Lake Elsinore Storm, but before that was a USD Torero, and his future's bright.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's get at it, man. Jackson Merrill was robbed of Rookie of the Year honors. I guess chicks dig the velocity. I guess dudes dig the velocity. I don't, nothing to take away from Paul Skeens. He is fun to watch. I watched him pitch. He's fun to watch. He does it once a week. And, when you have that much velocity, it's easy to strike guys out. And, the secondaries are really good. But there's something to be said for someone so young doing it every day. Hasn't touched a minute in AAA and only spent, a half season in AA. To come on the scene, play a new position, and play at the level that Jackson Merrill did. It's just, it's just tough to take that the Riders didn't see that more than the shiny velocity pitching of Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I mean, he was a first overall draft pick. He went almost straight to the majors. I mean, the story is so good. And the things that he did this year, there really are a lot of historic factors about it. So I get it that it's a solid debate. You can make either way. And understandably, we're a little bit biased. But like you said, new position, went out there and played better than average center field. Opening day, he was out there, the opening day starter, where they held Paul Skeens down until mid-May. Were they ramping him up or were they manipulating his service time? Well, either way, since he won the Rookie of the Year, that means that he just won a first year of service time. But the Padres got a little bit. So Jackson Merrill got robbed, and in my opinion, and if he would have gotten the award, he gets a $750,000 bonus, pretty much doubles his income for the year. I mean, that's amazing. That's life-changing for these guys. And then the Padres, they lost out on a draft pick. They would have, since they had him up at the beginning of the season, he was eligible for that player performance incentive. And so the Padres would have gotten a draft pick right after the first round for that. Then us fans, we got robbed because we didn't get to celebrate our guy.
Yeah. But the one award that he did win was by the player's choice. And I think that one really rings more true. You want it from your peers more than you want it from the Riders. Obviously, the Riders has more of a, I don't know that stature, but there's more to it than having the Riders acknowledge you as Rookie of the Year. But truly having the guys that you play against saying that's our guy, that's the best player, that's the best rookie, I think goes way farther personally for him.
Well, he's the Rookie of the Year in our hearts, and that's all that really matters, right? That's all. But all year long, he was saying, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to win with my guys. And he's the ultimate team player. So the personal accolades, he won a Silver Slugger. He gets to put some hardware up on his wall. But ultimately, it's about all those games, going on a playoff run. It's too bad they couldn't go a little bit deeper in the playoffs. But the team wouldn't have done what it did without him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's tough, but the future is bright with that kid. I'm excited to see. Well, I'm actually kind of more interested to see, if he has that sophomore jinx. A lot of players that come up and they do really well in their first year, they get a good book on them. And, sometimes that second year can be a struggle for him. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We'll see how it goes. But as we move on, there's another robbery, I think, in a little bit of ways. And that's with Pat Murphy being named Manager of the Year and Mike Shildt running a close second. Now
that was one that I didn't feel okay. So all season we felt like, okay, Jackson Merrill's got to win this award.
Yeah.
And with the Manager of the Year, I don't think it had that same sense. So when it got to the end, you can look and go, okay, there's a few guys that are in the running for this. And we saw up close what Mike Shildt meant to this team every day, the consistent message the great job that the whole coaching staff did. But I think it's interesting that the Brewers, they had Craig Counsell as their manager, and he got ripped out from
Yeah,
under their feet to be hired away by the Cubs. And so, what's the new guy
right.
manager of the year? It's kind of a big fu.
And it's kind of nice. And obviously, Pat Murphy is father of Kai Murphy, the Padres prospect, and was the AAA manager and a intern manager for the Padres a couple years back. After they fired was it Andy Green that they fired and Pat Murphy came up for a
Dave
year?
Roberts. Oh no, it was Bud Black. Bud Black.
Bud Black. Okay. Yeah. Bud Black was came up and coached for a little bit. It was great because I saw the Chihuahuas, they posted a picture of Pat Murphy as manager and a very young Guy Murphy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Well, so the next piece of news we got here, it's the time of the season with the GM meetings, and then we've got the winter meetings coming up. That means the Rule 5 draft is around the corner, and the deadline just came and passed for Rule 5 protection. The Padres chose to select the contracts of 3 players to protect them from the Rule 5 draft next month. They added Ryan Bergert, Henry Baez, and Omar Cruz to the 40-man roster. So the pitching staff got a little bit deeper with those moves.
Absolutely. So the 22-year-old Baez went 7-4 with a 2.99 ERA, 109 strikeouts, and a 1.09 WHIP over 126 in the third innings, split between High A Fort Wayne and Double A San Antonio. He had a 2.95 ERA with Fort Wayne and a 3.06 with Double A San Antonio.
Consistency.
Consistent, exactly. The 25-year-old Cruz struck out 118 batters over 86 innings. He had a 3.96 ERA, split between San Antonio 3.59 and AAA El Paso 4.42, which isn't bad for a reliever in the environs of the Pacific Coast League. He was originally traded from the Padres to the Pirates in the Joe Musgrove deal in January 21, but returned to the organization last December in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft. So we grabbed him back. We protected him. He certainly, when we talked about this as the season went on, like he could have had a shot for a spot in the bullpen this season. Look for him to really kind of push for one in the coming season in 2025.
Now, I think back to like 2017, I think it was, there was a social summit, and he was one of the kids that they brought up to talk. And he was, baby faced, maybe
Yeah.
17 years old. He spoke a little bit of English. He's from Mexico, but his English was pretty good already by then. And so how far it's come, but he's still with the organization. I like keeping it in the family.
Yeah, and actually still only 25 years old. So he's plenty young. So there's a lot to dream on there with Cruz. And once again, with we'll see what the Padres do with their pitching this, in the offseason here. But they're gonna have to bring some of these guys up to maybe fill some of the holes, be it Ryan Bergert or another starting pitcher. But they're gonna have to figure out some way to kind of mix in some of the prospects in with maybe trading for a guy or Preller's going to Prell, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, we talk about how many pitchers teams use, and the Padres used 26 pitchers this year,
Yeah,
and even then they benefited from a fair bit of health. You see other teams that shoot through arms at a
yeah,
faster rate. And so you start looking down at the bottom of that list, you see guys like Carl Edwards Jr., Austin Davis, Pedro Avila, Sean Reynolds bounced up and down a couple of times. So it takes a big team to make it through a long season.
yeah, absolutely. So with 24-year-old Ryan Bergert, he went 2-10 with a 4.78 ERA and 23 starts at San Antonio, striking out 87 batters against 33 walks over 98 innings. Bergert recently completed a stint in the Arizona Fall League where he had a 7.36 ERA over 14 and 2/3 innings. You don't look at the stat line for the Arizona Fall League. He pitched he had a couple good starts. He did struggle a bit at times. Long season for him. So, I'd kind of throw that out there, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he got a spot starter sometime in the 25. What do you think?
So he had a rough May and June. I just pulled up his stats here, and in May his ERA was 7.65. In June it was 6.75, and then after that July 4.5, August 3.92, September 3.18. So a couple of bad months makes the whole season look rough,
Yeah.
but finishing strong with that solid second half, that speaks volumes to me. But he's got the power fastball. He's got a full repertoire. It sounds like he's still kind of developing how to deploy his pitches, how to attack, and find the consistency across all of that. But when you start working with the major league staff, the major league catchers, the coaching, all the advanced scouting, you got all those eyes watching every little thing. Versus in a minor league team, you got your head coach, you got your pitching coach, and that's about it. So there's a bigger support staff when you get up. So figuring out those nuances of the game, you got a lot of help to get there.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on with the international leagues. We've got all kinds of other news going on, but we got a nice long interview here with Jack Costello. We had a good chat with him. He's a
Yeah.
SoCal guy. We were excited to talk to him. Interesting dude, and we're happy to share that with you here.
One. Jack Costello was drafted in the 10th round out of the University of San Diego this year. His senior year, the Thousand Oaks resident hit .292 with 17 doubles, 8 home runs, 2 triples, 61 RBIs, and 45 runs scored. His 61 RBIs are the 7th most RBIs in a season in program history. After getting drafted, he was sent to Lake Elsinore, where he was helped the Storm go deep in the playoffs with a 284, 388, 529 slash, and 6 homers, and he joins us here on Friars on the Farm. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
So you're here in Southern California. There's no time zone difference, right?
No, so I'm actually in Arizona right now for a little off-season camp. So we're an hour ahead out here in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that like an optional thing that they open up for you, or was it like an invite kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's like it's optional for the off season to be able to come. It's basically a strength camp. So it's more focused on the strength and conditioning side, where we're out here for a couple weeks at the complex, just training in the weight room and stuff.
Hell
Not
yeah,
any
dude.
baseball activities going on? You out throwing a ball, you stepping in a cage, or is it just strength right now?
Yeah, so it's mainly focused on strength, but we got guys out here. We're starting up our throwing programs. We're hitting in the cage too, so we definitely find a way to get some baseball activity in.
A couple years back, I made it to a fantasy camp, and it happens right around the same time of another camp. And you guys are usually out there, and I ran into a bunch. Having the podcast for so long, we're playing ball, and a bunch of the guys that I've had on the podcast and watched me play. Dude, I'm 55. I can get at it, but I don't run as much as I don't run as well as I used to. I've got 2 brand new hips, and God, they were laughing, and it was such a blast.
So you grew up in the San Joaquin Valley, right? Or
No, so I'm
Simi
in
Valley.
Ventura County. Yeah, Simi Valley. Yeah, in Ventura
So
County.
does that mean you happened to wear a blue hat when you were a kid? What were you a fan of growing up?
Yeah, I will say that I took a little drive down the freeway to go to games and watch a team in blue play growing up, and that's the stadium I'd always go to. But found a way to get to America's finest city and go to college in San Diego. And lucky enough, I'm able to keep representing San Diego and be with the Padres. So I'm very
That
grateful.
wasn't just so you could keep wearing the blue gear at USD, was it?
No.
So who were some of your favorite guys growing up? Were you a fan of any particular players?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of players that I was fans of, but I love Manny Ramirez. For some reason, when I was a little kid, like I've always just loved hitting, and I loved watching great hitters. And Manny Ramirez, for me, just always kind of had that swag, and he just always looked so confident at the plate. And it was like, you didn't really think anything was going through his head. You just knew he was going to go up there and hit a ball hard. So I really liked watching Manny Ramirez. And then from the other side of it, my dad is from New York, so we watched Yankee games all the time. So I also loved watching Derek Jeter. So being able to grow up and watch those Yankee Red Sox kind of rivalry games when they were both at like a peak, it was pretty cool.
Oh, hell
Okay,
yeah.
so your dad was a linebacker at UTEP.
Yeah.
I understand your sister Christine was a Division I softball pitcher at Iona. Your brother Tommy played D1 baseball at UP up in Stockton. So who's the best athlete in the family?
I'm going to have to say my mom. You know, you didn't mention her on that list right there, but my mom is the best athlete in the family. Yeah. No, she grew up, she played softball, tennis, but still to this day, she plays tennis, and I get out there and play with her too on the courts, and she's a tough competition. So yeah, she's definitely the best athlete in the
Oh,
family.
Oh, that's a
dude,
good workout. That'll get you winded so fast.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
dude, that's epic. So real quick, so your sister pitched. Did you
Yeah.
ever get in the box against her? Did you ever like, a la Jenny Finch back in the day?
No, never gotten the box against her when she was throwing, but I remember some of my brother's friends did, my older brother's friends did, and I watched it happen one time, and they kind of got embarrassed, and I was like, yeah,
Right.
I'm not going to be doing that. I'll stay out of there.
It's got to be weird because you're used to the ball coming out up here, and instead
Yeah.
it's way down there, and it can do this, it can do that. I mean, it's different.
Yeah, no, it's completely different, and they're so close too. They're letting it eat underhand too, and that ball is rising, sinking, it's going all over the place.
Oh, so hey, so you played club ball, with the Garcia Parra group. I didn't know that they had an organization. So that organization was much more about development and getting you to the college level. It was more than just a travel club, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, so in our area, we had a good, strong core of really talented players growing up and playing summer ball and playing on our travel team. So we all played for GBG, the Garcia Parra baseball group, and yeah, I mean, I think just the competition of being able to be on a team with super talented guys coming up in high school, and we're all have the dreams to pursue and play college baseball and professional baseball, just kind of pushed us. So I think that was also another great opportunity for me growing up.
Was USD your first choice?
Yeah, USD was my first choice. Like right when my recruiting kind of started to open up, they were the first school to reach out to me. And I remember I got down on campus and got to San Diego, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, there's not another place in the world that I want to go to school. San Diego, this place is amazing. So that's when I made my decision, and it was a very easy decision, and it was a great decision for me. Yeah.
So, did you want to stay close to home? Because your sister in Iona, that's all the way in New York, so she wanted to get as far from home as she could.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got very lucky being the youngest sibling and both my older siblings going through the recruiting process of playing college athletics. But I think that was a factor for me too, just kind of, observing their experiences. And for me to be able to go to San Diego is such a beautiful place, and then also be like, hey, I'm only 2.5 hours away from home. Like,
Yeah.
parents can come to every single weekend, come to all my games. That was a big factor for me too, and it was a great choice to stay in California.
So
That's
your
close,
brother
but not too close. Like they can't just drop in unannounced, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. We got that buffer zone.
Yeah.
so your brother also he trains now. He trains for a living?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
So,
is that specifically just weightlifting, or is it baseball, or is it other sports, or
yeah, I mean, it's weightlifting, strength and conditioning, and then with a big baseball focus. So he has a lot of guys that he trains from a high school to a professional level of players that he trains. And he does a lot of pitching work with them too. He was a left-handed pitcher when he played. So yeah, he's in that world right now. And lucky for me, when I am home, I do have a place to be able to work out with and be with a great trainer like him and be around the guys.
dude, that's epic. So you started 4 years in a row. As you continue to play and start, were you getting any more looks earlier in your college career from the pros?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to get to campus and play my freshman year, which was an awesome opportunity. And then I was a little bit older, so I was draft eligible sophomore. So I ended up not deciding to go, and I went back to school. And then, you know, got banged up my junior year. I broke my hamate, so then it kind of made the decision for me that, hey, I'm probably not going to sign this year. I'm going to go back for my senior year, and you know everything kind of worked out is the way I looked at it. There's a lot of nights where you're thinking about, all right, where's this going? What's the right decision? But being able to be there for all 4 years and get my degree and be around just great guys as far as teammates, coaches, it was just awesome. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And now I'm with the San Diego Padres. I cannot complain at all.
Congratulations on the degree. Communication studies.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Awesome. So you guys won the WCC twice while you were there, and you got to go to the college tournament. What made those teams special?
I think it's just the camaraderie with the teams. obviously every single year we're very talented, and you're at a Division I program, and you play with a lot of talented guys. But for those 2 years that we were able to win our conference and go play in a regional, there was just something different about the guys on how close we were and just how well of a team we played together. And in college baseball, it's different than professional baseball, where you play 50 games in your full college season, and you get to 50 games in pro ball, you're not even halfway through the year.
Right.
So each game is a little bit more tense and a little bit more competitive, I would think. And so just for us to work as a team, it was really great experience in college.
And then this last year, like half your team got drafted. Like 4 of those guys, you were the 4th guy to get drafted out of that squad.
Yeah, I mean, we were stacked. We had a lot of good guys, and that also plays a big factor in there. But yeah, we had some guys. We had Josh Randall. He went to the Detroit Tigers. Ari Armas, Cubs. Jacob Christian to the Giants. We had a lot of studs, and they got some guys that are still there this year that will get drafted this upcoming year. So I'm excited to see it for them.
You'll hook up with them in spring training next year, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're the second Torero in the Padres organization with Ripken Reyes. Have you guys met up and collaborated on that?
Yeah, I mean, I have met Ripken. I never got to play with Ripken at USD, but my whole time at USD, Ripken always made an appearance. He came back in the fall, so I got to meet with him. I got to hit with him a couple times. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, to be part of the University of San Diego is special. Then everyone in San Diego loves the Padres, so to be able to join that organization, this organization is awesome.
Well, now you got to pass that forward. Now you got to come back and talk to the kids after and tell them your stories of grandeur.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hey, you played in the Cape, yeah?
Yes, I did. After my sophomore year, I played in the Cape Cod League.
What team would you play for?
I played for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell the story every time I talk to someone that goes to the Cape. Like a couple of years back, my wife's family's in Connecticut, and we had an off day, kind of like, hey, let's get out of town. And I'm like, honey, the Cape isn't that far away. It's like a 3-hour drive. It's like, okay, let's go. I'm like, all right, let's go. We drove through a day. I mean, it was just pouring rain. Like, I'm surprised we didn't die. It was raining so bad, but we got to Hyannis, stayed the night and watched the game. And it was it was kind of a bucket list for me. And I hope to go back there soon. It's just incredible. How many people were there, but like, you couldn't sit behind the disc. Like, it was all scouts. There was 30 scouts there for just one game. And I'm like, holy cow, it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a one-of-a-kind baseball experience that I had in the Cape in that summer. It's just pure baseball. You get there and a ton of people come to watch, but there's no real stadiums, no real like atmosphere as far as like the fields aren't the greatest, but it's just the best baseball players in the country. And, just people around the Cape, they love it and they come to watch. So it's really cool.
So you played in the Northwoods League, you played in the California Collegiate League. Those are all wood bat leagues. Do you feel like some of that was helping you, prepare for being a pro with the wood bats and all that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's what those summer leagues are kind of made for and why they are so heavily scouted. You get the opportunity to play a lot of games and play with a wood bat, and also just kind of be away from where you've been at your school. In the Northwoods League, I think that kind of preps you the best for just being away in the minor leagues. You're not going to be in the most populated towns. You're going to be in the Midwest somewhere. You're going to be somewhere where you're going to a gas station for dinner, and you got to kind of figure out a way to wake up every day and go to the field, and you're playing every single day. So yeah, definitely prepares you.
I'm pulling up where Mankato, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Mankato, the Moondogs.
Is that a couple hours outside of Minneapolis?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from Minneapolis. Yeah.
Oh man, out in the boonies.
You got to watch out for bears and elk and.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the slider I got to hit tomorrow, and then I'm driving on the road with no street lights, and there's deer crossing everywhere. It's not like San Diego.
Oh, gee.
One thing at a time. Got to get home safe.
Yeah,
all right, so while you were at USC, you played under Coach Ungrich, and he played under Tony Gwynn, who everybody here in San Diego reveres, a little before your time, I'm sure. But do you feel like any of Tony's teaching or any of his like culture came through to you guys through Coach Ungrich?
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed that too when just the things Coach Ungerich would tell us every single day. And when I got to the Padres and they were just kind of, welcoming us to the Padres and what this organization means. Obviously, Tony Gwynn is the prime example of what it means to be an amazing baseball player and be a Padre. I feel very lucky that I did get to learn from Coach Ungerich. He loved Tony Gwynn, and just learning from him. And Coach Ungerich actually gave me Tony Gwynn's book on hitting, and I read that while I was in college. So to be able to get to the Padres and everyone's talking about Tony Gwynn, it's definitely something that I'm comfortable with and that I know a lot about. So yeah, it's awesome.
So did you go through and like highlight? You've got little Post-its all over that book?
Yeah, pretty much. I remember he gave it to me my sophomore year, and I sat down. I was reading that thing, and there's just so many great little things in there.
Yeah, I always got the knob of the bat, always the knob of the bat towards the ball.
Yeah. I mean, I still see the videos. I go on YouTube. They got like old clips of Tony Gwynn like hitting tutorials, and I'll watch those too just because it's so awesome.
He was great. His wife actually officiated Roy's wedding.
Wow, really?
Yeah. She's a pastor, and she actually performed my sister's wedding 11 years prior. And my now wife and I ran into Alicia, and we asked her before we could even get the question out. She said yes, absolutely. She was awesome.
That's amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's get to draft day. Tell us your draft day story. Where were you? What were you doing?
Yeah, so draft day, it's a crazy time. I'll start with that. You think you kind of know what's going on, and then you have no idea what's going on. So I woke up on day 2, and my agent called me and told me that, hey, there's a chance that it could happen here on day 2, but if not, maybe day 3. I'll let you know when we get more specifics from teams. And so I was like, all right, I went to the cage. I got a workout in. I was just trying to do stuff to kind of get my mind off everything. And I was filling up my truck with gas, and my agent called me and he was like, hey, you might want to get home. We're in talks with the Padres. The Padres, I think they're going to take you here. So I drove home immediately, told my parents we're sitting there, and didn't really hear anything. We're just kind of sitting there watching the draft, listening to names go by, and I'm like, all right, well, it's coming up on the 10th round. I don't know what's going on. Like, I haven't heard anything. And then right there, I get a call. My phone's buzzing. My agent tells me, he said, hey, do you want to be a Padre? I was like, absolutely. Like, yes, sir. And then was able to be at home with my family, and my brother was there. So we got to watch that. And that was an amazing day.
Do you know if other teams were interested pursuing you at all?
I mean, honestly, it was pretty quiet. And I didn't really get too much buzz pre-draft. I did one workout, and it was for the Padres at Petco, and that went very well. And so after that, I'd done everything I can, and I'm just going to kind of wait for my opportunity. And obviously, my dream of being able to play for the Padres, it came true, and it's awesome.
That's great. All right, so you skipped right over the ACL. You went straight to Lake Elsinore. How long were you in the desert, and what did you do while you were out there?
Yeah, and so we all came in, as far as our whole draft class. We came in just kind of they called it a draft camp, just kind of get everyone acclimated to pro ball and get comfortable and get accustomed to like what the Padres mean and what it does mean to be a part of the Padres organization. So I was there for about a week and a half, and we did one live at bat. I did a live at bat off Joe Musgrove when he was doing his rehab. So I'm at the complex, and I'm about to have my first at bat, and I look up, I'm facing Joe Musgrove. So I was like, all right, welcome to professional baseball. And
how'd you do? What happened?
I hit a 2-strike. I don't know. We might say infield knock. We might say air, but I put the ball in play. So that's what I was very happy about. And then, and then I got a call that I was going to Lake Elsinore. So then we flew out from Arizona to Stockton, met up with the team in Stockton, and then just got ready to play.
Okay, I was curious about that because some guys, they'll like pack up their whole car and drive out to the desert. So like I'm picturing you driving out from San Diego, and then you got to turn around and drive all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was expecting too. I was ready to just load up my car and go wherever they told me. And then they're like, no, we're actually teams in Stockton, so you're going to fly out of Phoenix. You'll meet them up there, and then be with the team and take the bus down to Lake Elsinore after the series.
that, and in Stockton, that plane's going to slow down. You're going to jump out with your gear, and like that's it. It's like Stockton is in the middle of nowhere. My brother and sister-in-law live in East Sacramento, and we
Okay.
drive through Modesto. We drive through Stockton to get to that area. It's just
Yeah.
it's one of those cities where you drive through.
I
Um,
flew out of Stockton one time. At that airport, there's one terminal. That's it.
right.
Yeah. No, we didn't. We flew into Sacramento. We didn't even fly into Stockton, so we had a nice little Uber drive over.
Dude, that's epic. That's your first pro experience. You're like, God, yeah, I'm a professional ball player. I'm on the plane now.
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
All right, so dude, your first week there, you raked. I remember you came up and you kept hitting. You hit like 3 home runs in a week. And tell me if I'm wrong here. I think a couple of those were either game tires or game, not game winners, but certainly a couple of those home runs were very significant in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I think at least two of them. We had a couple guys on base when I hit them, so that obviously, give yourself a team or stretch out the lead. It's very important. But yeah, I mean, I love hitting in Stockton. And going back to my college days, my sophomore year, our conference championship was at Banner Island Ballpark where the Ports play.
Okay.
So when I showed up, that place was comfortable. The last memory I had of that place was just dogpiling on the pitcher's mound. So there was a lot of good vibes showing up to that ballpark, and yeah, that was a great first week of professional baseball there.
Well, let's go.
That's 3 home runs in the first 4 games. What's
Yeah.
that? 5, 8, 10 RBIs in the first 4 games as a pro. Man.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good week. The ball was flying. It was great.
All right. So the Padres, when they drafted you, you were announced as a third baseman, but you play first base, left field, right field. You play pretty much wherever they ask you. Um, do you like you did that in college too? Do you like the varieties that suit you?
Yeah, I mean, I love that, and I've kind of done that my whole life. And people always kind of ask me like, "What's your favorite position? Like, are you just going to play one?" Or I think of myself as a baseball player, and a baseball player is the game starts, ball gets rolled out, like you go find a spot and you get in the lineup and just play. So I think me being able to have that versatility, it's very important, and that's the way I like to play the game.
How many mitts do you pack in your bag?
All of them. All of them. I got an outfield glove, first base glove, third base, anything. Yeah.
You got a catcher's mitt?
Yeah, right, right.
Oh, I should, just to be ready, just in case, because if anyone asks, I will be ready to do it.
I mean, every once in a while, you need that backup catcher. They
Yeah.
pinch hit for the guy, and then he gets hurt, and who's going to strap on the gear?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I caught when I was about 9 years old, and I think that was the last time. So it might be a little rusty back there.
Now, you pitched some in high school. Do you miss pitching at all?
No, I don't think I miss pitching, but I do love the idea of when you're on the mound and like I have the ball in my hand, I'm controlling the game, and I think that's the same thing that I get from when I'm in the box. I have that same mindset, like, hey, I'm in the box, I control the game. So I think that's what kind of helped me when I did pitch was I just kind of took that mentality to the mound.
Why'd you transition why'd you transition off the mound?
I mean, I grew up just always being a hitter and a position player. And then in high school, I got on the mound really just because we needed a closer. And I was like, hey, I'll get up there and I'll get up on the mound. I'll fill up the zone. So that's kind of why I was on the mound. But I was always mainly a hitter.
So I'm gonna
I'll
keep my
pitch.
eyes open when there's one of those blowouts when you guys are up like 12-2. Maybe you'll get the call to go out there and fill up the zone again.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to want the ball. I want to get out there. Yeah.
Coach, no, Coach Ray, because you'll be in
Lucas
Fort
Ray.
Wayne next year.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's going to be Mike Daly next year if it's the same staff. All
All
right,
right,
so
well, hey,
you're
go
from
ahead.
Simi Valley. You got Inland Empire, you got Rancho Cucamonga, not too far away. They're both a little bit close. When you were going to those parks.
What was that? You cut out
Oh,
there
okay.
for a second.
Sorry. So you're from Simi Valley. You got Rancho Cucamonga, not too far away. Inland Empire, Lake Elsinore, obviously. Did you have your own cheering section at those parks?
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky too to be able to have my family and friends come to most of the games throughout the season. So that was awesome. Lake Elsinore was only about an hour and a half drive for my parents. So my dad made his way out to quite a few games.
All right. So who were your roommates in Lake Elsinore?
My roommates were Leo DeVries and Brandon Butterworth.
Butters. Nice. The freeze.
Yeah.
Leo doesn't speak any English, right?
Yeah, we were working on it a little bit. You know, he was working on his English, I was working on my Spanish. But yeah, I mean, even though there's the language barrier, we still found ways to communicate, and he's awesome. I love hanging out with Leo.
Do you guys play video games?
I don't really play too many video games, but yeah, a lot of guys do play video games.
All right. All right. Okay. So this off season, what does your off season look like? You've had your first taste of pro ball. It went pretty well. It's going to get harder and it's going to get a lot longer. Are you doing anything different this off season to kind of prepare for a little bit of a longer season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of taking advantage. This is the longest period of time that I've had as far as like being off. You know, in college, even though you're off, you're still practicing every day. You're with the team, you're going to class. But, you know, just taking advantage of getting my body right, getting in the weight room, and just trying to get stronger, get faster, and just prepare myself going into next season to be healthy and have my body ready to go.
Are you working on anything in particular?
Yeah, just maintaining and increasing my speed. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, we talked about me being pretty versatile and playing a lot of different positions. So I think just working on my speed and working on my quickness will just be able to help everywhere on the field.
All right. So going into next season, you got any goals? I know it's a little early in the off season. You got plenty of time to think about them. Do you have any goals going into the off season, into the next season?
No personal like statistic goals or anything like that. I'm just, you know, just kind of preparing myself to get ready for my first full pro season and be able to just go out and compete. Obviously, whatever team I'm at, I want to be on a winning team and be able to help that team win. So that's the goals. That's the goals right now.
Well, Fort Wayne, man,
Paramount.
it is a beautiful ballpark. They have an absolutely spectacular staff there. You're really going to enjoy Fort Wayne.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I've heard. I've heard Fort Wayne is awesome.
Well, hopefully you're not there for too long. You move right up to double.
Right.
But it's a long season and availability is the best ability. So I mean, we hear from the guys all like it's just such how to get your body prepared to go play 150 games, and that doesn't even include spring training and all that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, and it gets really cold in Fort Wayne, just as you know. It's like your first 2 months there are going to be. It's going to be a nightmare. It's so cold.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. You know, it definitely doesn't get very cold in San Diego, so I'm definitely going to have to get used to it if I'm out there in Fort Wayne.
All right. So we really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us. Let's you want to have a little fun? We have a little small lightning round. We'll wrap it up, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sounds great.
All right. What's your nickname?
My nickname is Beans, and that's just a childhood nickname. Don't really know where it came from. I just know our family friend neighbor. He just always called me different nicknames, and then he called me Jackie Juju Beans, and then Beans just kind of stuck. So we actually had like a players weekend kind of thing in Lake Elsinore, and I think somehow one of the announcers found out my nickname was Beans, and he called me Beans. So yeah, a lot of people call me Beans.
Dude, that's epic. Do you have any superstitions?
I would say I'm a little stitious, not superstitious, but I mean, I don't really have any crazy superstitions. I think one thing is I always put my left batting glove on first. It doesn't feel right when I put the right one on first. I always put my left batting glove on first.
All right. If you could listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, one song. I'd have to say, I think Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn. That's a great song. Yeah.
Okay. So you're a surfer, yeah?
Vibe.
I mean, I do surf and I can surf. I don't know if I'm technically a surfer, but being in San Diego, you find your way to be able to get out to the beach quite often.
What's the biggest wave you dropped in on?
I don't know specifics. You know, the only times I've ever surfed is just kind of going out with teammates and buddies. You know,
all right,
just borrowing their board, trying to get up and see who can catch as many waves.
Dude, born and raised in San Diego, blonde hair, blue eye. I've surfed 2 days in my whole life. I grew up a little poor, so I couldn't afford a surfboard. And by the time I was old enough to afford one, I had too much ego to even try.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very difficult. There's a big learning curve when you get out there, and the ocean is undefeated, so it's very hard to be able to start surfing.
Dude, that's epic. The ocean is undefeated. Okay. So if you could have any pet that's not a dog or a cat, what would it be?
Any pet? I think maybe take a page out of Mike Tyson's book, maybe get a pet tiger or something, just a big jungle cat, maybe a tiger or a lion. I think that would be really cool.
You're not alone. And I can't remember who else someone named a tiger. Okay. So you're stranded on an island. You have food, water, and shelter. What are the three things that you want?
Probably, I'd probably take, I don't know, three things I'd want. Probably a grill, a steak, and then maybe a speaker to play some music.
All right. All right. There we go. Dude, Jack, I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me on. This was awesome.